I start? Do you want me to just
At
start
the
over?
beginning, start over.
Yeah.
Milo and Tuck the Watchdog had just escaped the dungeons at Dictionopolis, where they had been sentenced to live for 6 million years. As soon as they escaped, they had been told that they had been invited to, without reason, to the royal banquet. The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Jester. The banquet hall was a vast room, full of people talking loudly and arguing. The long table was carefully set with gold plates and linen napkins. An attendant stood behind each chair, and in the center of the room, slightly raised above the others, was a large throne, draped in crimson cloths. Milo noticed many of the people he had seen in the marketplace. The leather man was busily explaining to an interested crowd the history of the W, and off in the corner, the humbug and the spelling bee were arguing fiercely over nothing. Officer Scherft wandered through the crowd, suspiciously muttering, "Guilty, guilty, they're all guilty." But upon noticing Milo, brightened visibly, uncommented in passing, "Is it 6 million years already? My, how time flies." Everyone seemed quite... You're not helping
Yeah,
anything.
keep going.
You are not helping anything.
I'm sorry, keep going. Your judges might start laughing and you're going to have to be able to deal
Not
with
that
that.
hard. Everyone seemed quite grumpy about having to wait for lunch, and they were all relieved to see the tardy guests arrive, and that was even funny. The humbug ran up to Milo, grinning. "Certainly glad you can make it, old man. As guest of honor, you must choose the menu, of course." Oh my. King Azaz the Unabridged.
Places, places, everyone. Take your places.
The king was the largest man Milo had ever seen, with great piercing eyes, a gray beard that reached down to his waist, and a silver signet ring on the little finger of his left hand. He also wore a robe with the letters of the alphabet carefully embroidered all over it.
What have we here?
"If you please, sir, my name is Milo, and this is Talk. Thank you very much for inviting us to your banquet, and I think your palace is beautiful."
Yes, it certainly is. Now, young man, what can you do to entertain us? Sing songs? Tell stories? Sing songs, tell stories, compose sonnets, juggle plates. Which is it?
"I can't do any of those things."
What an ordinary little boy. Why, my cabinet members can do all sorts of things. The Duke here makes mountains out of molehills. The minister splits hairs. The Count makes hay while the sun shines.
And get out.
Out of here.
And the undersecretary hangs by a thread. Can't you do anything at all?
"I can count to 1,000.
Ah! Numbers. Never mention numbers here. Only use them when you absolutely have to. Now, why don't you come here and sit next to me, and we'll have some dinner. Are you ready with the menu?
Reminded the humbug. "Well, why don't we have a light meal?"
A light meal it shall be!
The waiters rushed in, carrying several large platters, and set them in front of the king. When he lifted the covers, shafts of brilliantly colored light leapt from the platters and bounced around the ceilings, the walls, across the floor, and out the window.
Not a very substantial meal, but quite an attractive one. Perhaps you can suggest something a little more filling?
Well, in that case, I think we have to have a square meal of...
A square meal it shall be!
The king clapped his hands once more, and the waiters reappeared, carrying plates heaped high with steaming squares of all sizes and colors.
These are awful.
No one else seemed to like them very much either, and the humbug got one caught in his throat and almost choked.
Time for speeches. You first.
"Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to say that in all that
That's quite enough. Mustn't take all day.
but I just begun."
Next! Roast turkey, mashed potatoes, vanilla ice cream.
What a strange speech, thought Milo, for he'd heard speeches in the past and knew that they were supposed to be long and dull.
Hamburgers, corn on the cob, chocolate pudding.
Frankfurters, sour pickles, strawberry jam. And so down the line it went, with each guest rising briefly, making a short speech, and resuming his place. When everyone had finished, the king clapped his hands again, and waiters reappeared carrying heavy hot trays, which they set in front of the guests. Each plate each contained the exact words spoken by the various guests, and they all began eating immediately with great gusto.
Dig in, although I can't say that I think very much of your plate.
I didn't know that I was going to have to eat my words.
Of course, everyone here does. You should have made a tastier speech.
Milo looked around at everyone busily stuffing themselves with food, then back at his own unappetizing plate. It certainly didn't look worth eating, but he was so very hungry.
Time for dessert. We are having a special treat today. By royal command, the pastry chefs have been up all night in the Half Bakery to make sure that
The Half Bakery?
Of course, the Half Bakery. Where did you think half-baked ideas came from? Now, please, don't interrupt. By royal command, the pastry chefs have been up all night to...
What's a half-baked idea?
Will you please just be quiet?
Without waiting for the king to continue, 3 large serving carts were wheeled into the room, and everybody jumped up to help themselves.
They're very good. They're very good, although they don't always agree with you. Here's one that's very delicious.
The earth is flat?
People swallowed that one for years, but it's not very popular these days. Here, the moon is made of green cheese. Now that's a half-baked idea.
Milo looked at the great assortment of cakes which were being eaten almost as quickly as they could be grabbed. The undersecretary was shoving one into his mouth that stated, "It never rains, but it pours." And the king was carefully slicing one that stated, "Night air is bad air."
I wouldn't eat too many of those if I were you. They may look good, but you can get terribly sick from them.
Don't worry, I'll just wrap one up for later. Thank you.